welcome back to PGA Coaching Live from Kiawah Island, presented by Cadillac. We're talking about all things golf for the everyday golfer. We've got exclusive interviews, insights, and coaching demonstrations from the world's best coaches, the true heroes behind the major champions, to get you excited about developing your own game. Whether you're completely new to the game or a seasoned veteran of the sport, we've got the insights to take you a step further on your golfing journey, so stay tuned. And with that, we welcome you into our PGA Coaching Live set right here on the Players Practice Range. Truly could not be in a more beautiful location. We are steps from the Atlantic Ocean. I am Melanie Collins, joined by PGA coach Steve Scott. Steve, could you think of a more perfect setting?
This venue is absolutely, I mean, can I just camp out here
Honestly,
tonight?
we'll sleep here. We might as well.
We could cut the wind just a tiny bit, but man, the location, the vistas here, phenomenal.
It's perfect. And we were walking around earlier to see this many fans here in attendance, expecting 10,000 throughout the week. So refreshing to see people again.
It is, and where they've had the practice tee set up today, it's been very close to all the fans out there, and really, so there's a lot of interaction. I saw Jason Kokrak out there earlier, and he was joshing with the fans.
Yeah.
It's great stuff. I mean, this is what we've all been waiting for it feels like years, but I know it's only been you know, a little over a year.
Well, we've got a number of amazing guests coming up, some of which are from the PGA team of 20. What an incredible accomplishment to make it to the PGA Championship. You competed in 3 PGA professional championships. How hard is it to get here?
Well, it's extremely hard. I mean, 20 out of 312 that start that event, and it's extremely hard. I missed out by 3 shots a couple times, and
so
I feel like I'm a pretty good player, but there are lots of great players, and it gives kudos to players like Rob Labritz, who were with us earlier this morning. This is his 8th PGA Championship. A guy like Danny Balin as well. The Mets section very well represented for some great. I mean, this is his 8th time as well. So it really gives a lot of context to how many times these players actually qualify and get to play with the best in the world.
Yeah, and how cool to be facing the best players in the game. What exactly are they facing this week?
They're facing, well, they're going to face a lot of wind. They're going to face the longest golf course in PGA Championship, major championship history, north of 7,800 yards. Beautiful Pete Dye layout, and it's just absolutely tremendous.
All right, well, we are PGA Coaching Live, so let's get a quick tip from you, Steve.
Absolutely. Well, this is all about irons and getting proper downward contact. I know, Melanie, we talked about this a little bit. You love the tee shots, but the iron game is a little lacking. We'll have to work on that.
I'm going to pay close attention to this one.
We'll have to work on that. So the iron game is this, right? We want to make sure that we can strike down and through. Obviously, we're not on the grass here. We're on the mats. And a lot of players practice their game off of a mat. And so here's how you can figure out how to get the good strike. So what I want you to do, it's really important to make sure that we move. There's 3 motions of the golf swing, essentially. There's vertical motion, which gets the club to go up. There's rotational motion, that's the body turn. And then there's lateral motion, which is the shifting of the weight to the left so we can make a downward strike. So for this purpose right here, I've put a tee just some 4 inches ahead of the golf ball here. My goal is when I get to impact, I want this shaft to lean. I want my left hip to move up to this tee, you know, kind of get my left hip to stack over my left foot. I think that's very crucial. If the things that happen incorrectly is when we hang back and the weight stays too much on our right side, and then our club bottoms out somewhere back here or it rises up and you basically hit the golf ball right in the forehead. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that this left hip moves towards the target and then it rotates out of the way. If we can move it towards the target and then rotate it out of the way and then strike down, the goal is to hit this tee just ahead of the golf ball. And if I strike down and get through that golf ball, and we're going to be in business off the irons.
Amazing tip. And whether you want to break 100 or you want to win the Wanamaker Trophy one day, just like Justin Thomas did in 2017, we've got you covered. All right, welcome back to our PGA Coaching Live set, and we are so excited to be joined by the president of the PGA of America, Jim Richardson. Jim, how's your week going so far?
It's great. It's a great kickoff to the week. It's kind of Chamber of Commerce weather. We're getting great comments from the players about the course conditions, so hearing a lot of buzz about Coaching Live, so it's been a great start to the week.
Yeah, the conditions really couldn't be better, and the PGA Championship returns to Kiawah Island for the first time since 2012. Tell us about how excited you and about 28 other thousand PGA members are for this week to unfold.
Well, there's so much history here dating back to 1991 with the Ryder Cup here.
Yeah.
And obviously Roger Warren, who's the president of Kiawah Island Golf Resort, is the past president of the PGA of America, the PGA member, and the staff here do such a great job. So it's awesome to see the championship return to Kiawah Island. It's great to see the team of 20, the 20 PGA club professionals that qualified for the PGA Championship. It's exciting for us to introduce PGA Coaching Live for the very first time. So we've got a lot of firsts, and we've also got some history here. So that all combined together should make an incredible PGA Championship week.
Yeah, we are so excited to be here on PGA Coaching Live.
You did mention that team of 20. How, you know, you're going to be watching them all week long. How impactful is it for them to experience the game at this level with all the best players in the world?
Yeah, well, Steve, you know, playing at the highest level, I mean, this is what you strive for as a player, to play in major championships.
Right.
So we have our team of 20 led by our professional club champion, Omar Resti. And then we have individuals like Rob Lebretz, who you know from the Northeast, Danny Balin, who are playing in their 8th PGA Championship. You know, a couple years ago, Rob made the cut at Bethpage. So we're looking to cheer on that team of 20, see some of our club professionals make the weekend and play against the best players in the world.
How about the guys north of 50 as well? Stuart Smith, Sonny Skinner.
It's amazing.
Almost 60 years old, right?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's become such an athletic game. Individuals that have kept their form through the use of technology, through the use of exercise and fitness, and they're hitting it farther than ever, but they're also hitting it better than ever. So we're seeing that level of play, as you said, Steve, even on the 50 and over set, and playing against the best players in the world. It's going to be great to cheer them on all week.
Jim, golf has seen such a massive rise in popularity over this past year. Why is it so important for people out there to get on PGA.com/coach and find a coach of their own?
Well, I think the game can be so much fun.
Yeah.
From a recreational standpoint, it's something you can do as a kid. You can play the game for your life. You can play as a family. I have an 11-year-old daughter that is really big into dance and music, and I can go watch her performances. I can go watch her in dance competitions. But golf is a sport that we can play together. And it's something that, you know, my 89-year-old father down to my daughter at 11 can all play the game together. So it's those memories that you create as a family. It's the health and safety and wellness of the sport from a mental aspect and a physical aspect. I think people really needed that this last year.
For sure.
We saw them come out in droves. So the best way to enjoy the game is to play better. The best way to play better is to have fun at it. And the best way to do that is to get with a PGA professional through PGA.coach. Enhance your game, make it more enjoyable, more fun, and you'll enjoy it even that much more when you play the game at a high level.
Being that this is PGA Coaching Live, Jim, you've obviously had a lot of key people that have influenced your journey. Describe maybe a story that you've had along your way.
Yeah, one of the first jobs I had in the golf business was in Scottsdale, Arizona, Marriott's Camelback Golf Resort, and the legendary Arch Watkins, who was a legend at Papago Golf Course, who taught several different tour players from Billy Mayfair, Heather Farr on the LPGA Tour. It was very big into giving back to juniors and playing, and learned that from him at a very early age. Now I have the opportunity to work for Troon Golf and their management company, and we're led by, you know, one of the best instructors as well too. We've got full-time teachers that are around the country, but we just want to see more people enjoy the game. We want to see more people have fun in this game. We want to see more people playing it for a lifetime. So golf professionals routinely throughout history have always given back to individuals to enjoy the game. And we're seeing that here this week through our team of 20, through all the work you all are doing on PGA.coach. So we want more people to enjoy the game and more people to have fun at it.
Well, Jim Richardson, thank you so much for coming on. We're delighted to have you, and we can't wait to see how the week unfolds.
That's right. Have a great week.
Thank you. Let's send it out to our roving range team of Scott Walker and Rich Jones. Take it away, guys.
All right, Melanie, thank you. Here with Rich Jones, I am Scott Walker, and we've been looking at, over the last few minutes, over some of the great players here. And one of the players, Rich, we wanted to focus on was Matt Kuchar, who's had 4 top 10s in his 12 PGA Championship appearances. What do you like about the way that he approaches his swing?
Man, I'll tell you something. Being out here and just kind of watch him hitting shots, From our perspective, I just like the fact that he's taken, his own swing and making it work, right? So he's not really trying to change a whole lot. He plays a little bit more over the top, if you want to call it. So really, I like that about him, where he's not really changing much. He's just maybe just working on flighting the golf ball.
Well, we'll get a good look at him here, too. And you talk about over the top. It's something that not everyone understands. Describe that club path and the problems it can cause, but also some of the things you can do with it.
Yeah, so, as a coach, as a PGA coach, we look at different, ways to swing the golf club, and certainly that's one of the ways, right? So coming from maybe the outside for a right-handed golfer, maybe coming from, say, the 5 o'clock position to the 11 o'clock position, really just kind of put me more like a cut shot if the club face is open. And I always say that that's probably a lot easier for a lot of players, especially with the right-handed golfers. I know personally for myself, I like that because it's a go-to, but at the same time, if you want to draw it, you got to go from the other direction.
The go-to shot, so many people talk about it. What really is it? How can a person incorporate that to make sure that they're consistent in the way that they perform?
Yeah, that's a great question, Scott. And I always say, go to what works, right? So whatever works, don't try to go out there. And always I tell my juniors, hey, if you show up the day at the range and you're fading the golf ball, well, that's your go-to shot for the round of golf, right? So don't try to go on the first tee and try to start drawing the golf ball. Use what's working for you, and I think that's what you're finding here today. The players are not really changing much. They're taking what works for them and figure out a way how to flight the golf ball so to play the golf course.
So you're saying that's not just about saying this is my stock shot, but it's also saying here's what I'm doing today. How can I make that work for me?
That's correct. Here's what I'm doing today. Here's what I'm going to take to the golf course, and this is how I'm going to play it. I'm going to be comfortable with it. I don't need to change anything. I just may need to work on maybe flighting the golf ball and making sure that I control the wind.
Well, we'll definitely look for more insights from you, Rich, throughout this show as we get that great look at Matt Kuchar.
Definitely.
All right, great stuff, guys. We are PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac, and we are so excited to have the head football coach from the University of South Carolina, Shane Beamer, join us. Shane, how's your week going?
Going great. Having a great time down here. Kyler Rose and the PGA. We're fortunate. We're very thankful for the opportunity to come down here. So brought some coaches down. Beautiful weather. I love coming to Kiawah anytime, any place, or anytime, and to be down here for this tournament. Certainly fantastic.
Yeah. Overall impressions of the course. I know you played it a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I did, and I lived to tell about it.
I was going to say, what were the conditions like?
The wind was whipping around like this, as a matter of fact, but we had a fantastic time, a beautiful day, great company that day, and so thankful for the opportunity to play, and it's absolutely beautiful. My dad and I came down here and played about 2 or 3 years ago. We were down here on vacation, and to get back out here 2 weeks ago, see it during tournament conditions was pretty awesome, and then to be out here today and watch these guys being so talented, battling this wind and the conditions out here is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you've been around greatness your entire life. Obviously, born Frank Beamer, your father, Hall of Fame coach. Greatness is greatness, right? But what is the separator between good and great as a motivating coach that you are?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think you see it with golf. It's such a thin line. I mean, I've played with so many great golfers that are just on the edge of making the tour, being able to maintain their time on the tour. Brendan Todd is a good friend of mine from when I worked at the University of Georgia. And when we were in Athens, Brendan was struggling to kind of make it. Now he's one of the best players out here on tour, and it's such a thin line. And I think it's the same thing in the SEC where we play, and then throughout college football, just that separator, the mental toughness, the work ethic. We talk about grit a lot in our program, and I think, certainly grit has a lot to do with it, those guys being good and great.
What would you tell one of these guys who's maybe just on the teetering, like Tony Finau? He's right there. He's been knocking on the door so many times. I think this is a great golf course for him personally, but what would you say to a guy like a Tony Finau maybe to get him over the hurdle?
Yeah, I watched him on the front nine earlier today and enjoyed following him. He certainly doesn't need my advice, but I would say a guy that's as talented as him, just keep swinging and keep playing. I mean, he's so immensely talented, and when you have that many second place finishes like he's had, he's in the mix. Eventually he's going to knock that door down, and when he does, look out.
Shane, speaking of coaches, you just competed with 19 other FBS coaches in the annual Peach Bowl Charity Challenge. Tell us a little bit about that tournament and who you played with.
Yeah, it was a great time over at the Oconee course at Lake Oconee, at Reynolds Lake Oconee in Georgia. And it was a fun time. 2 10-man teams, and I was on a team with some 9 pretty good players, and it was a group of current coaches and then a group of legends as well, guys like Coach Spurrier and my dad. So I had a fantastic day. Played with Steve Spurrier and Dan Mullen, the coach
Spurrier.
at Florida. we played the first day, and that was a lot of fun. The second day played with Jeff Monken, the head football coach at Army, and Rick Neuheisel, former coach, is certainly a very entertaining guy as well.
Yep.
So we had a great time, and our team won, and had some bragging rights over some fellow competitors in the SEC as well.
Love it. Well, before we let you go, let's get a quick scouting report on the Gamecocks. What are we looking like this season?
Yeah, we're excited. Just finished up spring practice and got a good group coming back. A lot of fun. There's so many Gamecocks out here today, which has been a lot of fun being around the golf course and seeing so many of them. And there's a lot of excitement about Carolina football right now, which is what I'm excited about. And have a good group. We're young and continuing to build. We got to continue to recruit and get better and better, but excited about this team and what we're about.
Yeah, we can't wait for the season. Shane Beaver, thank you so much for joining us. Let's check in with Colin Morikawa and his coach, Rick Sessinghaus.
So with the wedges here, I know you do a couple different shots to get your feel, right? The feel versus real. You're gonna tell me, once you've hit this shot, the intention's 30 yards, how far you think it actually went, and then we're gonna kind of test it to see if that is matching your feel.
Perfect.
Okay, did that feel like 30?
Yeah.
Okay, let me shoot it. You're pretty good. That's 30, okay? Do you think in terms of like a position where you're gonna be here, or is it strictly feel-based?
I think it's a combination of both. I kind of have my spots if I'm about what I feel is midway through my body or what I feel is just below my shoulder. Whether it's there or not, I don't know, but at least I have a feeling and I'm able to gauge what distances those are.
So let's go one more 30.
Short.
This time, I want you to hit a 60-yard shot.
Feels pretty good to me.
Feels pretty good. Okay. I think we had 57 on that one.
Pretty close.
For you to get that feel of how far that ball's flying is going to help your confidence when you go out there. Let's do a 60-yarder. How'd that feel?
Pretty good. Right on 60.
60 it is.
There we go.
My dad, Bruce Summerhays, played the PGA Tour Champions for 15 years. He won 3 times out there. My cousin Daniel played the PGA Tour for many years. He took 3rd in the PGA at Baltusrol. And then also my cousin Boyd played the PGA Tour, and he coaches Tony Finau right now. And then my sister played the LPGA Tour. Her name's Carrie. Quite a big family lineage there in golf.
Let's go, here we are. Summerhays shootout.
You play our Summerhays family tournament, and it's the toughest tournament of the year.
Team Joe.
Yeah.
Summerhays shootout 2019. They're teeing us off in the frost here at the TPC DP GCC.
There's a lot of fun ribbing. We are all competitive. I mean, a sports family, super competitive, but we keep it nice.
Right, we've got right covered, folks.
We try to get together as much as we can, and we say whoever wins that tournament is going to have a great year. I'm Joe Summerhays, and I'm a member of the PGA Team of 20.
Come home, come home, come home, yeah, come home, just come home.
Pictures up.
It's all about it's called. It's called. Hi, I'm Colin Morikawa, and this is Behind the Scenes with Cadillac. That's a beast of a car right there. Woo. That thing looks amazing. It's super spacious, which like I kind of love. Shoot, see you guys. Oh, it is not warm. I barely went over the water. Let me think about this one really quick. This is fun. There we go. Hands free. That is awesome. Yeah, we're gonna do that again. Sorry. It's actually exciting every time I do it. Thanks for following along. That's a wrap.
All right, we're back here on the practice tee with Rich Jones. I am Scott Walker. So let's talk about the runner-up in the 2017 PGA Championship, and that was Francesco Molinari. And as we take a look at Francesco, he really has done a good job of transforming his game from being a really good iron player and a shorter hitter to lengthening it out in that championship, and then as he went on to win the British Open.
Yeah, you know, I like Francesco. I mean, in terms of most of our players and reviewers, you know, that's just to show you testament that you don't have to be the longest player, right? But you have to be able to control your irons. And, you know, with a player like Francesco came in second at Quail Hollow, which is a similar conditions in terms of wind, right?
And a big ballpark too, yeah.
Big ballpark. So the idea where, you know, he's hitting his driver a little bit shorter, which means that the preparation has to go with his irons. They have to be completely precise. And I think that's what he's working on with his coach over there.
So how do you successfully make a change to do something, gain more length, gain more accuracy, whatever you're doing, without breaking what you've done well?
Yeah, so, you know, as I look at the range, I'm seeing a lot of TrackMan, right? And I think he's probably working with his coach to see how we can bring that spin rate down, right? To be able to bring that spin rate down a little bit lower. As you can see, I think he just carried that 253. So trying to work and get the spin rate down, because the higher that spin rate gets up in the air, it's going to be completely hard for him to kind of manage this golf course.
Well, it was interesting because we had just seen him with a driver hit one about 15 yards shorter, and you're saying that into the wind spin alone, lowering that spin can make that much of a difference?
Oh, absolutely, and I think that's why you think he's got the TrackMan there. He's looking at it and figuring out ways how he can kind of lower you know, that spin rate, because a low spin rate obviously is going to generate, you know, a little bit more distance.
What are some of the things that you look for someone that is a really good iron player? Is it one type of position? What are some of the key things you see?
So you know, again, you know, for a player that's you know, 250, 260 off the tee, the long irons has to be really sharp, right? So I think you're going to find that he's really going to be working more on his irons and maybe flight it a little bit different, maybe his ball position, not so much changing his swing. That's already perfected, right? So there's no need to change that, but maybe just the ball position just a little bit.
Well, we'll see how he does in this 103rd PGA Championship, looking for his second major of his storied career.
Patrick Rada accomplished a lifelong goal to compete against the world's best in a major championship when he earned his spot in the PGA Team of 20. But advancing to the 2021 PGA Championship didn't stop Patrick from being back at work bright and early the next morning.
I knew that whatever happened in that tournament, I was going to be at the club the next day, going about my daily business.
He putted out at about 6:30 in the playoff to qualify for the PGA. The next morning at 6:45, he was opening up the pro shop. I mean, he is a true professional. He merchandises, he teaches, he runs the tournaments. He's everything a PGA professional, and I think he represents the association great.
Beautiful.
Patrick, the PGA head professional at the MacArthur Golf Club, has a couple of special mentors by his side.
He has a place in that event. He's earned his place in that championship through the qualifying. If he goes there and plays his own game and figures out good strategy on the golf course and doesn't get caught up in the moment, which is very easy to do, obviously, because it's such a big week for all of the club pros, I think he can make the cut, honestly.
We've had a lot of conversations about competition and how people behave under duress and that kind of thing. Eventually, there are going to be certain thoughts going to cross his mind. And it's how you deal with those. A lot of people don't respond favorably to those thoughts. And I was just trying to encourage them to do that.
when I get to be around smart people who have certainly accomplished great things in their career, their life, I just try to listen.
It's going to be a special week for Patrick. He grew up in Anderson, South Carolina, and competed on the golf team at the University of South Carolina. When he tees it up at the PGA Championship at Kiawah Island, it is in part a homecoming.
I'm getting chills on my arms because the opportunity to compete against the best players in the world at their craft is something that you don't get to do every day. A lifelong dream to play in the PGA Championship, and to be in my home state of South Carolina, really, you couldn't have scripted it any better.
A dreamlike week, surely, for Patrick Rada. We've got him here right on set alongside the great master professional Jim McLean for the Jim McLean Golf Schools. But Patrick, they've afforded you the opportunity to be the first man off the tee. The first tee, 7 a.m. on Thursday. What's it like to understand that you're going to hit the first tee shot here in this year's PGA Championship?
Yeah, it really is an honor for me, being from South Carolina, being able to come home to play in my first major championship, to open the tournament. You know, I really couldn't ask for anything more than that.
Well, your day job is at the MacArthur Golf Club in Hobe Sound, Florida, just down the coast, down in Florida, really close to where you qualified at the PGA Professional Championship. Certainly a lot of wind on the coast there.
Sure.
What's your take on the wind here in this golf course this week?
Well, we're right on the ocean. The vistas here are so beautiful, and you know you're going to get some wind. You know, we're pretty close to the coast down in South Florida. It's something that we're certainly used to. It blows pretty much every day. So you can expect it. You know it's going to be out there. You know it's going to be tough conditions and a great test.
Now, Jim, certainly a legend in the coaching business, really pioneered the instructional game, I think. 7 golf schools all around the world. And your home base, let's see how much wind there is right here, right?
That'll tell you.
Your home base down in Coral Gables, Florida, at Biltmore now. But explain how it feels to be working with a player here. You're obviously also working with Russell Henley, who's a player in the field, but working with another PGA coach like this, obviously instructing him, but teaching him how to teach as well.
Well, Patrick's a top club professional, and he's a really fine player. Obviously, getting a chance to play here is a big thing, big feather in his cap. All the members at MacArthur, I know, are really pumped up, and he's got a great young family. He's got, it's going to be really a great thing for him. It's fun for me to work with someone for a few years, like with Patrick, and just give him a little more confidence, really, in his game.
Yeah, Patrick, the two of you have been working together for 2 years now. How would you describe the impact that Jim has had both on your career and your game?
Yeah, Jim's been amazing for me. I've been fortunate enough. I met him up at MacArthur. We had him up a couple years in a row, doing a couple things up there and establishing a relationship with him. He's nice enough to let me come down and shadow him for a day of teaching, and that kind of just developed into a good friendship, and where he started instructing me, and he's just helped me so much with just kind of understanding my swing, and even with my teaching, how can I incorporate that and help my members as well. So he's had a great impact on me.
Patrick, with Jim being such a great player in his own right,
Sure.
I mean, Walker Cup team member in the 70s, I mean, just an unbelievable playing career. How important is it to you to learn under a guy who can really play the game?
Yeah, he's done it all. Obviously, gotten to know him a little bit in his background. Great amateur player. Played in the Masters. Just a great player. Became a great head pro. Great teacher. Obviously, has just continued to develop, and he's mentoring me and several other instructors across the country. So I don't think you can say enough about him and the impact he's had on PGA professionals across the country.
Jim, you've been coaching Patrick now for 2 years. What is unique to his game?
Well, Patrick comes down, every maybe 3 months or so it's not like all the time. But we just developed a game plan. I think that was the number one thing, was to develop a plan, set some goals, and just let him go from there. We worked on some mechanics early on, but right now it's been a little more short game, and it's fun for me because I've been a club professional most of my life, and then to see Patrick reach this great accomplishment here of being at Kiawah Island.
Well, Jim, you're an author of a book, Build Your Swing. It's your latest book of a plethora of books that's out there in the world. And you got to be pretty proud of this guy who's writing his own story this week.
I sure am.
Well, thank you guys both for being here.
Absolutely.
Best of luck. Can't wait to see your first tee shot. I know your legs are going to be a little jello out there.
Thanks for having us.
Excited for you.
It's going to be fun.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we don't need any more pressure.
All right, let's take a look at some Rolex featured tee times. I believe these just came out.
Getting some white caps out there almost there on the...
Yeah, I mean, this is a beautiful shot, too. Who needs tee times when you have this view?
This is our home base right here. I mean...
Absolutely beautiful.
We need to get out there for a little bunker lesson, I think.
We do.
A little think on the range there.
All right, round one featured groups. Group one, Patrick Rada, of course, who we just spoke to, teamed up with Adam Long and Cameron Tringale.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun time getting out, maybe beating some of the wind out there. I know Patrick's going to be excited to get out there, play with a few PGA Tour winners. And now Stuart Smith, the 8:50 a.m. starting time in Group 11, who's going to be joining us today, the 59-year-old who shot an amazing 65 just to get in the final round of the PGA Professional Championship, just to get here to Kiawah. And then Rob Labritz. We had Rob on earlier. He is just an unbelievable player, trains as hard as any of these guys who play the game for a living, and he's got a day job back at Glen Arbor Golf Club in the Met section.
Of course, with Brendan Steele, a good friend of mine from California. Love Steeler. That's my guy. And Mark Leishman.
Yeah, some great featured groups there, and certainly excited for our team of 20.
What makes a great featured group?
I mean, it's just you get a variety of players, you get a variety of personalities, and sometimes groups you can kind of pull each other along. You'll see this very commonly where one player will play well and kind of suck the other players right into their vortex, and everybody will play well. Yeah. And you see it in the other way as well, where some players, if they're not feeling the game, you see Steve Stricker over here, 1:47 p.m. Eastern Time, playing with Billy Horschel, Florida Gator, Daniel Berger there.
Group 35, now that's a group. Webb Simpson, Will Zalatoris, who I know we're all excited to see after his Masters performance, and of course Jordan Spieth, who's been better than ever lately. He's had quite the start to the year.
Yeah, that group is surely one to watch. And then Group 36 over there, 2:09 Eastern, Dustin Johnson, world #1 player, Shane Lowry, the Open champion from Royal Portrush, and Sergio Garcia into his 40s, still hitting it a long way.
Unreal. All right. And Group 21, we've got Lee Westwood paired up with Victor Hovland, who has performed very well on Pete Dye courses in the wind, and Xander Schauffele.
Victor Hovland is somebody I've got my eye on. He is right up there as far as he's right up there as far as the ball striking numbers go. So you got to like his chances this week. Group 22, all past PGA champions right there. That is. Can't miss that group.
Yeah, and then speaking of past champions, Group 23 with Colin Morikawa. Of course, you got Bryson DeChambeau, and then our Masters champion this year, Hideki Matsuyama. All right, let's send it out and catch up with Joe Hallett with Rick Sessinghaus.
All right, this is one of the rare treats that we're going to get this week. Not only with a rare person and a great person, Rick Sessinghaus, out here with his star pupil. And if you don't know the name, just look to last year's championship, because that name keeps popping up over and over. But more importantly, as a coach, Rick, you wrote a book that we've often heard quoted, just the quote itself. Golf is the ultimate mind game. Tell us a little bit about the ultimate mind game and how you're preparing Colin for this week.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, this week is just an awesome week for Colin, obviously defending champion of the PGA. But when we think about playing golf, my gosh, all the time in between shots and our ability to focus or be distracted, or confidence or doubt or emotions going all over the place, that's going to affect our golf swing, right? Our tempo and our feel. So we have to be able to manage those emotions, manage those thoughts with routines and such. And best players in the world, most of them done a really good job and with the pressure they're at. But at home, right, we're our member guest or something, oh, I got to make this 6-footer to win or something like that. You better be managing that mental game.
All right, that leads to the obvious question. What is the, if you had to give one line, the mantra to help our average player out there who loves this game, who's playing now more than ever, what's the one line to help them get in the moment and make all those thoughts go away? And I'm sure this is a pricey line.
Well, you just said in the moment, right? So being present in the moment, I ask present-based questions. So how is this lie going to affect the ball? Where's the wind coming from? How firm is this green? What's my number? Those questions are all factual based. They're not opinion like this is a bad lie or oh my gosh, this is worth birdie or anything like that. So if we can ask better present-based questions, it will help us stay in the present moment. But again, when it's the opinion of what is this worth for and how much money is on the line and oh my gosh, I could break 80, right? All these other things that bring up emotion, our body's going to respond differently. So being present is the number one goal. I use questions to be able to funnel that there.
Somehow, and even at my age, I'm hearing dragnets that says, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. And that's truly what it is. As a coach, you've had one of the rare treats, and I'm hoping you'll be willing to share on a very, very personal level. Watching Colin win last year, I mean, it's just, can you run us through, I mean, from the coach's side of it, how exciting it is for a coach to do that?
I mean, I'm so proud of him, and he's such a hard worker, and he's such a great young man. And as a coach, I learned early on, and you probably relate, we have to be careful of identifying ourselves with our students' results. Oh my gosh, he's for all right. I have to be calm too, right? And that's pretty hard on a final round of a major when he's in contention. But I'm yelling and screaming on those good shots. I do want to cheer that on. But you know, I saw how composed he was, how focused, how calm he was on the first tee. And I'm not saying I knew he was going to win. I knew he was going to play well. I did that. And you go along the way, and then he chips in on 14, and then, of course, what happens on 16, you're just going, oh, my gosh, what am I witnessing here, right? I'm witnessing history, right? And just to be able to hug him after that round, I mean, extremely special, and he deserves all, everything for that.
And that's a good point to the viewers, that it's just not the player that's nervous sometimes. It's the coach that has those butterflies going in and out. The longest walk in golf is often talked about being the walk from the driving range to the golf course. Every player's got their own routine. Is there anything that Colin does that might be helpful to golfers, either of highly skilled or, just an average skilled golfer in terms of, what they can do?
Sure, I think I look at it as preparation instead of practice, right? A lot of people look at warm-up as practice when it's really not. You already have your game there. So we want to mentally warm up, physically warm up, and then get our skill sets in order. And what I mean by that is physical. Are you doing some stretching at home before you get there, not just driving in 5 minutes before your tee time? You want to get your body to feel the same every single time you play. So Colin's doing 20, 30 minutes of stretching just to feel normal, right, maintenance-wise. Let's warm up, everybody, right? Get that body going a little bit more. And then mentally is on the range, actually start to see shots that you're going to hit that day. Visualize, have a clear target, go through your practice routine so you're starting to wake up your mind with what you want to be able to do, right? And so the final thing is the skill set. What skills am I going to need today that's going to help me on this golf course? And it might be a driver, it might be, and you rehearse those shots before you get to the first tee.
That's awesome. We actually have been standing here being a moving target. If they pan around, they will see the guys shooting at us. So let's move forward and we'll enjoy more time with you. All right, Rick, we're out here on the third tee. The practice round, you're out working with Colin right now. If you had to break up how a practice round is broken apart on a particular hole, I'm guessing they don't spend a whole lot of time on the tee, but
I mean, I think you certainly have, when you have JJ, a great caddy, he already has some numbers. He may have already been to the facility before. He was actually here for the last one for the PGA in 2012, is you just want to get your sight lines, and a lot of that is going to be based on wind direction. So we probably see each nine twice before he actually plays. So today's a slightly stronger wind than it was yesterday when we played it, and all we're doing over is, okay, remember that pole there? Yes, we're going to hit a baby cut off that. And so he's just reaffirming what we learned in the first practice round. Only one shot was needed, right? There's going to be certain things if the wind shifts today that we may have to hit a few 3-woods or something like that off to look at it. But it's one, maybe 2 shots. They already have all their numbers. They already know run out distances and carries and stuff like that. But yeah, it's getting clear with your caddy of sight lines.
So as we get closer to the green, you see a lot more time being taken, and I know we're going to have the ability to walk with you and get up to the green. So let's kind of head that way, but thinking ahead, some of the things that most players might not think of in a practice round, other than just hitting putts from where you hit a great practice round shot, there are some things that we'll probably want to do. So
yeah, so one of my pet peeves when I work with competitive players is I said, how did your practice round go? And they say, I shot 71. And I said, I don't care what you shot. Do you know how the bunkers are? Do you know how the rough is? No, I hit it so good that I didn't get out of the bunkers. Then it's not a practice round. Then that's a scoring round. I want to know what's the firmness of the bunkers. I want to know how thick is the rough. Can you get out with an 8-iron? I mean, and they go, oh, that. So we got to hit from different shots. So yesterday we were in the rough. We were in some weird, waste areas and stuff like that. Because guess what? A round doesn't always go 14 fairways and 18 greens. So we have to be prepared for those things.
Well, let's go head down towards the green and we'll take another look. All right, we've made the nice, long, and chatty walk to the green with Rick Sessinghaus, and we're actually right in front of the green complex, which is about 8 feet above us here right now. We talked a little bit about where the time on a practice hole is spent, maybe one swing or one shot off the tee to get the line, maybe if they're playing to a different part of the green, 2 shots, but I think I'll let you fill in the rest here because they're going to spend a lot of time around this green.
And I think every tournament is different, so you have to be aware of the different grasses and stuff like that. But you look behind me here, and this par 4 looks, it's only 396, but if you don't hit the green, we have this massive runoff. And some people say, well, it's always my 60 degree. It's not the best choice. Sometimes this is very, very tight lie. I know Colin has now put in a 5-wood chipping, which he absolutely loves. And this is only just a few months ago. He's always learning. He's always adapting. You're going to make mistakes first, but be creative out there. Maybe you got a putt from here, right? We're having some people hit 60s here, but we're going to have some 5-woods here. We're going to have some putters here. But part of a practice round is being aware of all these variables and saying, what's the best skill for me? Don't try to be like Colin, but what's the best shot for me? And you might find that it might be a more conservative, like we were talking about hybrids and 5-woods to chip with, instead of trying to get under it with the 60 and open it up and then you skull it over the green and then, triple happens. So it's a lot of practice and preparation. Multiple shots are happening here.
And when you say multiple shots, a lot of times that involves different size grasses. I know, the rough around the greens can get a little bit longer, but bunkers, and maybe do you kind of have your players chart everything that's kind of out there and not just saying where was the hole location, there's more to it than that?
Sure. We rely a lot on JJ, his caddy, who already pretty much know what's potential hole locations are, so we chip in something to that, and he's throwing shots all around. Say, hey, how about this? How about this? And so we then make it in game a little bit. So there might be an up and down game on every shot too. It's like, okay, up and down from here, and then Colin's focus has to click in up a gear, right? A little bit more. But just a quick story about the PGA last year. Colin had played Harding Park before, but we noticed that the rough around the greens were a little bit thicker than what he was used to. And I'm not joking, we must have hit 300 chip shots in that rough on Tuesday. He was actually testing different wedges. He went with a TaylorMade high toe wedge that worked great for that. Now, this week won't be that one, it'll be a different TaylorMade 60. So you get a lot of things at your disposal if you actually prepare and do the work ahead of time.
What's that old saying? Success only comes before work in the dictionary. Rick, thanks for joining us here and actually making this a great journey throughout this hole. Best of luck this week.
All right, great stuff there from Joe Hallett and Rick Sessinghaus. Welcome back into our PGA Coaching Live set. We are in the most beautiful location ever, and I am joined by Joanna Coe, the Director of Instruction at Baltimore Country Club. She's also about to compete in her 4th major, so she knows a thing or two about wedges. Joanna, when you look at somebody like Dustin Johnson, for example, bombs it off the tee, but it's really his wedge play that garnered him that #1 status. What does he do so well with his wedges?
It really is. We all knew that he was a bomber off the tee as a junior, collegiate player, but what transformed his game was his dedication to controlling the distances with his wedges. His pitching wedge, it probably goes 160 yards, so what are you going to hit between 0 and 160?
Yeah.
So for someone like myself, my pitching wedge, I carry about 135, 140. The loft is quite strong, so now you only have 3 or 4 clubs between 0 and that number. So you have have to have a system or a feel to make sure that you're hitting those numbers on the dot, especially when you're playing against the best in the world.
So what are you going to show us here in terms of hitting different distances with your wedges?
Sure. So for those at home, like I said, it's either a feel or a system. So for myself personally, I feel either full 3/4 or half swings with all of my wedges, and I've done so much work over the years where I'm putting cones out into the driving range. You see that a lot on the LPGA Tour. They'll put cones at every 10 yards, and they have a different swing for those yardages. So for me personally, a full swing with my 60, assuming there's not a ton of wind like there is right now, goes about 90 yards. That's full 100% effort. Okay, so say I now have 85 yards. I'm going to feel a 3/4 backswing and a 3/4 through swing, keeping up my tempo and acceleration. I think the kiss of death from those I see at home is they take a full backswing and they slow down on the downswing, but that's decelerating the club head, and that's going to cause some chunks, thins, shots all over the map. So I'm going to feel 3/4, and some people also feel like a clock system. So think about an analog clock. You're swinging your left arm and your hands to a 10 to 2. So there's 10 o'clock swinging to 2 o'clock. So that's about my 75 yards. Now a half swing, 9 to 3. Or for myself personally, I'm thinking left arm parallel to the ground and my hands. And again, parallel to the ground here as well. So that's about my 60-yard swing. So that's a 60-degree wedge. I also have a 54 and a 50. So if you're properly fitted for those wedges as well and those lofts, you should be able to have 9 to 12 different distances for every single wedge in your bag.
Okay, so full, 3/4, and half swings.
Yep, you
I
can
think
even
the kiss
go
of
quarter.
death is my specialty, actually.
No decelerating.
Yeah, right? Joannico, thank you so much. Let's send it back out to the range with Scott Walker and Rich Jones.
All right, Melanie, thank you. And it's interesting because every time you come here, there's a new opportunity for a player to make a name. And the player behind us, Harry Higgs, is growing as a PGA Tour professional. His first PGA Championship, his first major championship. When you have a player that is trying to do something they hadn't done before, how do you advise them?
So again, listen, I mean, hats off to Harry, being a rookie, first major. Got that win on the Korn Ferry Tour. So, he's got to trust what's been working on, right? So he's got to trust the swing coming into a golf course like Kiawah Island. Don't try to change things, right? Don't try to change things, because if you try to do that, then everything is going to be off. So the advice that I would give to the players and the audience that are watching, work with what you have. Don't try to change it.
It's interesting because as you look at his demeanor, that's something that I think in social media and the like, people just seem to like Harry Higgs. And how can you take that? How can you take that joy of being here and play better because of that?
Yeah, I think when you look at him, he's having fun, right? He's certainly having fun, and I think that's important. That's
he's having fun right now, looking at his own stats as on Top Tracer.
On the numbers, right?
Yes.
So, it's amazing when you see that. We're like, hey, listen, the players that have fun are the players that really prevail. They do well.
Right.
And I say that to the students that are watching, and the students that are paying attention here, have fun when you're out there. And he's certainly enjoying the moment, right? His first major, first opportunity, and I think he's just, he's gonna really appreciate this. I think he's gonna have a lot to work on.
What's the issue that you have with some of your students as they're trying to break barriers, break 70, 80, 90, whatever it is, and get some tension? What are the problems that they have when they get really outcome-oriented in a place they've never been before?
So it's not so much one part of the game, right? So you can break it down into 5 different parts: the long game, the short game, putting game, mental, and management. But I think they forget sometimes how to play golf, right? So when they forget about doing those things, then they're not going to succeed. So they have to just really stay true to what they know and what brought them there.
As you look at his finish and his swing, what are some of the characteristics that you like about that?
So I like the way he kind of engaged his lower and upper body, right? And that's so important to kind of have that lower body not disconnected from the upper body, and he's getting through and getting on that left side very good. And I see a lot of players don't do that. They either get stuck with the lower body and get the upper body going, and that's starting to cause a problem. I can see when you look at his swing, when he gets to the top of the swing on the right side and he gets through, everything is moving. You know, at this stage, he's kind of working on maybe a low shot, kind of riding the wind. But he's transferring that weight very nicely. The lower body and the upper body are certainly engaged.
Well, he just hit an iron that never got above 40 feet. You know, and so that's what you're talking about in terms of, you know, the apex, as they'll call it, but the height of the shot, really trying to keep it low into this wind.
Controlling it, right? So, and that's the idea. I mean, you get here, you're hitting into a wind that's completely, you know, blowing at you, and you've got to learn how to master that, learn how to control that wind and flight that golf ball.
Well, we'll see if he's able to control that in his first major championship beginning on Thursday.
All right, great stuff, guys. We are joined now by Justin Thomas's father and coach, Mike Thomas. Mike, thanks so much for joining us. How's your week been so far?
Oh, it's been great. It's been windy, but it's a beautiful place.
Windy is right. What are your overall impressions of the course so far from what you've seen?
Hard. It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
Tell us what it's like coaching your son. I mean, is it a different relationship on the course versus off, or is it about the same?
No. Early on, I mean, I made a goal that, you know, I was going to be his friend before I was going to be his father. And so when I'm out here, I'm his coach, and then when we leave here, I'm his friend, and probably his father third.
Yeah.
I don't need to spank him or anything anymore.
That's good. With these conditions, with the wind, you know, this morning it wasn't as bad. It's gusting right now. What have you and Justin been working on in preparation for these conditions this weekend?
Well, besides the swing stuff that we're always tinkering with, you know, just where to miss it, what your lines are off the tee, you know, best places to be, then go to a lot of difficult places around the green, hit a lot of chips so that you know how bad it is if you end up there to avoid that, and also maybe just to be familiar with it. I've been down here before, and this is what the ball does when I'm down in here, so just feeling the golf course out.
Yeah, the elevated greens make the misses tough.
Yeah.
Justin obviously has tremendous skills. I mean, third generation PGA professional. Your late father, Paul, and yourself, and now him passed on throughout the generations. But the thing that really jumps out to me about Justin every time I watch him is his competitive nature. I mean, it's just the will to fight and win. Obviously, number 2 ranked player in the world right now. Where did he get that from exactly? And I mean, is it just something he's had forever, or?
Yeah, I mean, he's always been very competitive. You know, I always tell the story that when he was young, and I taught him how to play gin. He'd throw the cards at me when he was 5 years old. I was like, "You're not going to beat me." I go, "I'm 4 moves ahead of you. I know what you throw before you throw it." But I mean, he was very competitive and just felt like he shouldn't lose.
Well, he's obviously had a great year, winning the Players Championship after somewhat tumultuous year, certainly, but really coming back and showing the grit and determination. What sort of things are you working on? And maybe you can, as a PGA coach, you can demonstrate maybe how you would navigate and teach, you know, show Justin maybe a few things of how to navigate this golf course. Yeah, come on over here. Let's go. Yeah.
I mean, most everything that we do with him on a daily basis, a lot of the similar stuff that I do for a lot of my students is, you know, we're checking his lines because, you know, like a lot of players, he can get tilted this way or tilted this way a little bit. So we always want to make sure his lines and address are really good. And then it's really just about making sure that the club is on the plane. He'll have a little tendency to get it out here. When he does, he goes this way with it. So we're always making sure that this club is on the plane here and here. Right now, the last month or so, he's been getting a little bit across, trying to make sure it gets going down the line more than just staying on top of it. I mean, if he's on plane, he's going to hit the ball solidly, and then it's just club face out. Just making sure the face is square during all that.
One thing I noticed, I mean, he's got a very high left arm plane. Is that something he's always had, or is that something you coached into him, or?
I just tend to let the kids do what they want to do, and kind of mold that. Okay, if you're doing it this way, let's make sure that this happens, or if you're going to do it that way, make sure that happens. So, you know, I mean, that just kind of came about on his own.
You've taught a lot of juniors in your life, though. Maybe explain some of the stories of another junior. I mean, we know everything about your son, but I'm sure you've worked with a lot of others and had a lot of influence in others' lives as well.
I mean, the most rewarding part of working working with the kids is really watching them grow, not just their golf game, but watching them grow as a person, and seeing the light come on about some of the questions that they're asking, that you can tell that their golf intelligence, their golf IQ is going up, and so it's really fun to see them grow as people, and also, you know, make their golf game better, making sure that they're enjoying the game too. That's important.
I'm stuck on the fact that Justin was playing gin at the age of 5. That is such a hard game. Mike Thomas, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Best of luck to you both this week.
Well, the ocean course, you deal a lot more with the environment. You have the sand dunes that are always changing. As Pete used to say, this golf course walks. You'll have the wind's going to move these dunes around, and we're always kind of, you know, adapting to what Mother Nature presents us. The change from August to May, I think May is going to be a much more comfortable event for patrons and the golfers. The weather should be a little bit cooler. Hopefully we've got a lot of wind, and then, you know, just not having to worry about the storms and things like that. I'll probably jinx myself by saying that, and it'll rain all week, but those are the kind of things that we look forward to in May. And plus we'll be playing on an overseeded golf course. Right now we're just building the foundation, getting the ryegrass up, starting to do some detail work in waste areas and changing those a little bit, working fairway lines, getting those where Kerry wants to have the fairway lines and stuff for the PGA Championship. So right now, agronomically, we're just at the beginning stages of setting the stage for the championship. Once the tournament gets here, it's relatively easy. It's all of the work up to the tournament. You got long hours. But once the tournament's here, you know, our schedule, we'll start at probably 4:30 a.m. and we're usually off the golf course by 6:30, and then we'll come back usually right around 7 p.m. and we're off the golf course by 9 p.m. and we'll be fortunate in the fact that we get to utilize 5 other golf courses, staff. But as we get into March, April, things are going to ramp up exponentially each month. I mean, it's by the time May rolls around, we'll probably be looking forward to the end of May, to be honest with you, because we'll be pretty tired. But it's exciting. I mean, it's a true honor to be able to represent Kiawah and having the ocean course back out, you know, on the world stage. It's truly exciting. It's well worth the effort, and we enjoy the process.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Steve, how cool to get some insight from Mike Thomas.
A legend in the game, and certainly has raised an amazing player, and one that's got a very, very great chance to capture this Wanamaker Trophy this week.
Yeah, tune back in at 5 p.m. for more amazing guests. Be sure to keep it locked on our exclusive Range feed, and we will be back live in a few hours. See you then.